Shalom, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Shemi Awashai, by Shem Kakwadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us his truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful like Akim, teaching and preaching his truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Dizak Awasap, today's lesson is entitled, When is the first day of the month? And Lord willing, you be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh, by Shemi Awashai, the true names of the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son. And as always, the sit-downs, the lessons, the street speaking is for the remnant, the elect, the Israel, the Most High, and to you as the gospel preached. So when is the first day of the month? And to answer the question is, the first day of the month is when the new moon comes in. All right, according to the scripts, we had a lunar calendar. Our calendar consists of, us paying attention to the various moon phases. And the first day of the month is the new moon, and you have these particular phases, all right, that the moon cycle has. And when you examine, the high holy days, pretty much all the high holy days consist of, they'll revolve around the new moon or the full moon, so on and so forth, all right, counting days from the new moon. So I'm just go ahead and pull some scriptures backing that up. Now here I got some visuals. This is what a new moon will look like. All right, new moon is when you don't see the moon, or you see, this light, this small light emanating off the moon. All right, that is a new moon. Of the Apostle Tahar, he said, when you see the slither of light, that is the new moon. All right, and then you have, particular moon phases. You have the new moon, and then you have the waxing crescent. Waxing means it's growing. And then you have the first quarter. The first quarter comes in about 7 days from the new moon. All right, and then you have the waxing gibbous is still growing, and then you have the full moon. The full moon is roughly, well, it was 14 going into the 15th day from the new moon. All right, then the new moon. The first quarter is a Sabbath. The new moon is a Sabbath. It's a new moon, and it's a Sabbath. First quarter is the 7th day going into the 8th day. This is a Sabbath. Full moon, the 14th day going into the 15th day. That's a Sabbath. And then the full moon, that's the perfection, right? And then after that, it starts waning or decreasing, all right? Then you have the third quarter. This is a Sabbath as well, all right? It's the the 21st day going into the 22nd day, because the Sabbaths were at even. So when the Sabbath came in, it was transitioning from one day to the next. So that's why you hear saying the 7th day going into the 8th day, or the 14th day going into the 15th day. Like I said, the third quarter, that was a Sabbath, and then the waxing crescent, and then it goes, it completes the cycle, and it restarts back to the new moon. So how long is a moon cycle? Esau has our elders and apostles have told us it's 29.53 days. Now here Esau says 29.5 days. All right, and we teach what we was taught. So it says the moon displays these 8 phases, one after the other, as it moves through the cycle each month. Now they say 27 days. We're going off what we were taught, which is 29.53 days. All right, so that's the cycle of these of the moon phases. All right, it goes from waxing or growing, it reaches peak, and then it starts waning. All right, just like us. When you new, you pretty much small, and then you grow, and then you peak, you reach a certain part of life, and then you start getting older. Your muscles start deteriorating, your vision starts getting blurry, you lose your strength, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna start here in Ecclesiastes 43. It says here in the 6th verse, he made the moon also to serve in her season. A season just simply means an appointed time, a time period. All right, like when you have the season, when you have summer, that's an appointed time, and it's a, during, a particular time of the year. When you have winter, this is a appointed time of the year. So he made the moon also to serve in her season. So the moon is to identify things, a declaration of times. When you declare something, you make something known. You know, how do we know when is the Passover? Well, we go off the moon. According to the scripts, the Passover is in the first month, which is around spring, right? The 14th day of the first month. So the Passover will be uh, on the first month of the year on the 14th day, which would be a full moon. All right. So continuing on, it says the moon is a sign of Oslakia. He made the moon also to serve in her season, a declaration of times, different times. You know, scriptures speak about the Day of Atonement, which is on the 10th day of the 7th month. And we had particular men that were they would watch different phases. They would watch the moon. They would make they have records. They write different things down. And when a new moon come in, they will sound an alarm. They'll let people know, okay, it's the new moon, it's the Sabbath, so on and so forth. So we have people that kept time. It says in the sign of the world, it says from the moon is a sign of feast. All right, because new moon is a feast day. All right, and really all the Sabbaths, we didn't cook on the Sabbath, but on the day leading up to the Sabbath, we cooked, food, so on and so forth. And we're gonna have an example of that in 1 Samuel. It says, for the moon is a sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. So with the illustration that you see here, you see the new moon and it waxes, right? Or it grows. And then when it hits its perfection, when it's fully illuminated, that's its perfection, it decreases, it waxes, right? It's a phase. And just like the example, when a child is born, it waxes, it grows, the limbs grow, it gets stronger, the back muscles get stronger, the head gets stronger, it's able to eat different foods and start crawling, walking, running, and then as that person gets older, he starts waning. He won't be able to do the particular things he used to do when he was young. All right. Apply that same, analogy with the moon. So as it says here, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. So her perfection would be when it's at full moon, and it starts waning or decreasing. The light starts dimming. See. It says the month is called after her name, moon. The word month comes from the word moon. Now in this system, they use the Gregorian calendar, which is not based off the moon. So it's just completely off. And in the prophecies, it does say that Esau will change up the times and seasons. So they got this month, this calendar, this Gregorian calendar, that's completely contrary to what we read here in the scripts. It says the month is called after her name. Moon, the word month comes from the word moon, increasing wonderfully in her changing. The changing is the phases. Increasing is what they will call waxing. It says increasing wonderfully in her changing or her phases, being the instruments of the armies above, the sun, moon, and the innumerable stars, shining in the firmament of heaven. The moon has its own light. It gives off its own, aura. Shining in the firmament of heaven, the beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord. So, like I said, the moon has its own light, has its own aura. All right. It says at the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order and never faint in their watches. So, the moon goes through its particular phases. It increases wonderfully in its changing. And then when it reaches perfection, or when it hits the full moon, it start decreasing or waning. You have waxing, which is growing, and then waning, which is decreasing. All right, so now that we got that established, now when is the first day of the month? So we have an example of here in 1 Samuel, the 20th chapter, and they entitled it David Covenant with Jonathan. David and Jonathan, they were knit together. They had a very close relationship and a very close bond. All right, and you have examples of that in the truth. You have these close relationship with brothers that's closer than what you would have with a woman. With a man, you can share certain things. You can open up to men. Women, you can't tell women everything. All right. Scripture speak about keep thy mouth closed to her that lieth in your bosom. You don't share everything about a woman. A woman can get compromised by your enemy and put in a position where she'll tell everything about you, all your secrets, all your mysteries. But a man will fight for his friend unto death. Even Yahweh said, there's no greater love than a man that laid his life down for his friends. So you have brothers that'll lay their lives down. They'll keep that information, don't fold, none of that. So David had a close relationship with Jonathan, especially during this time when his life was in danger. So here in 1 Samuel 20 and 5, it says, and David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon. I shall not fail to sit with the king at meat, but let me go that I may hide myself in the field until the third day at evening, which is going into the fourth day. So the new moon and sitting with the king. The new moon is a feast day, right? I have it here pulled up. This is, I'll start at verse 1 and build the vibration in Psalm 81. It says, to the chief musician, a guitar, a psalm of Asaph. Asaph, he was a Levite, a priest during the time of the rulership of David. It says, sing aloud unto the Most High our strength, make a joyful noise unto the power of Jacob. And that's what we do when we make these videos. We singing unto the Lord. Or when we out there on the highways and the byways, bringing out the counsel of the Lord, the testimony, which this testimony includes the comforter, which is the spirit of truth, which the world cannot receive. It contains this everlasting gospel, all right, and the establishing of the elect, all right. It says, take a psalm and bring hither a timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery. So we're not out there with instruments, but we out there with the scripts. We singing, we singing and we got the scripts. It says, blow the trumpet in the new moon. Here's the point. Blow the trumpet in the new moon in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. When you read this in another translation, it says, blow the trumpet at the new moon, at the full moon on our feast days. The new moon and the full moon, they were feast days as well as Sabbaths. These were days of rest. So here we see David in 1 Samuel 20 and 5. It says, and David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is a new moon, the beginning of a new month, as well as a Sabbath. And I should not fail to sit with the king at meat, because the new moon was a feast day. Let me go that I may hide myself in the field until the third day at evening. So when we go down a little bit, you can read the story on yourself. We're just hitting these points. 1 Samuel 20 and 24. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat. Once again, the new moons was a solemn feast day. And the king sat upon his seat as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something had befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. Yeah, because, on the new moons, on these feast days, you're supposed to be ceremonially clean. You're not supposed to have sex on the Sabbath. You're not supposed to have your seed. Your seed isn't supposed to go forth out of your body. And various other things that pertain to our custom in regards to being clean. We had to uphold that on these particular high holy days. Verse 27, here's the point. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month. So the first day of the month is the new moon. right? That's the beginning of a month, and it is a Sabbath, and it is a feast day. So, and it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan his son, Wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today? And Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked me to leave of me to go to Bethlehem. So the point is, new moon is the first day. So David, he didn't show up on a new moon and on the day after it. So the new moon is the beginning of a month, right? So once again, the new moons are Sabbaths. Amos is a prophet, and here's Amos 8:5, saying, when will the new moon be gone? Because the new moon is a Sabbath and a feast day, that we may sell corn and the Sabbath. So new moon is synonymous with a Sabbath, and as well as not selling. Okay, so the new moon is a Sabbath, our feast day, and you're not supposed to sell stuff on this day. So, this will let us know that the new moon is a Sabbath. And today is the Sabbath as well. Our last week, we had the new moon. So if you were to look in the sky right now, it should be the first quarter. Matter of fact, let's see something. Let's do an experiment real quick. What moon phase are we in? Let's see. Waning crescent. The current moon phase today is the waning crescent. Let's see. What day? Well, hold on. Let's see. Waxing crescent. Okay. 27. Okay. So we're going into the first quarter, which is 7 days from the new moon. Right? So we in the right time of the Sabbath. So back in Amos 8:5, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell? Because you couldn't sell on a new moon because it was a Sabbath. And the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances of the deceits. Now these was wicked jakes finessing, giving false balances. You hear this, you going up to a market to buy, something, a pound of flour or whatever. You thinking you buying a pound of flour, but it's a quarter. It's not exactly a pound of flour. It's mixed with some other stuff. All right, Jake trying to stretch they substance so they can finesse and make more money. But the point is, new moon, selling, and Sabbath is all in one breath. All right, so going back to the title, when is the first day of the month? The first day of the month is the new moon. So Lord willing, you are edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, true names of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son. And as always, the sit downs, the lessons, the street speaking is for the elect. Double honors to our elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us the truth. Shalom, Washabach, Shalom.